Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Average Korean Man from South Korea. I have explained about this many times in my video, but I'm going to explain again because there are always new viewers who are watching my video for the first time. So a lot of Koreans like to own luxury stuff, things like expensive clothes, expensive bag for the ladies, expensive watches, expensive cars, and things like that. And usually that is to impress others. Of course, some people like to do that because they love to own, luxury stuff for themselves, but many times is to impress others. That is happening because people in Korea judge others by their looks, by what they're wearing, by what kind of bag they're carrying, what kind of watches they're wearing, what kind of cars they're driving, things like that. And today I'm going to talk about car poors in Korea. I'm not sure if you have heard of a term, car poor. Now I'm going to read you the definition of car poor. Car poor is an informal term used to describe a situation where someone spends a significant portion of their income on owning and maintaining a car. This includes costs like car payments, insurance, fuel, maintenance, and repairs. The term suggests that a person may have a nice or expensive car, but is financially stretched or poor due to the high expenses associated with it. In a sense, being car poor means owning a car that is too costly relative to one's income, leaving little money for other essentials, needs, or savings. Today I'm going to watch a couple of videos from a YouTuber, and this YouTuber does interviews with the car poors, and he reviews the cars, and he usually does everything about cars. So let's watch the interview.
알았지. 이분이 저한테 질문을 했어요. 제가 카포인지 아닌지 너무 궁금해서 출연하고 싶습니다. 주변 사람들은 다 본인을 카포라고 한대. 그거를 한번 우리 구독자분들이 얘기해주는 그런 시간 한번 가져보도록 할게요. 아이고 안녕.
So the first interviewee is doing an interview because he wanted to know that if he is a car poor or not. He wanted the viewers to tell him if he is a car poor or not.
안녕하십니까. 반갑습니다. 일단 자기소개 한 번만 해주세요.
저는 안산에서 왔고요. 37살 K5 차주입니다.
저랑 한 살 차이.
Okay, so he's 37 years old. He drives a K5. A K5 is a car from Kia in Korea. And K5 is not that expensive, but we'll see.
도대체 이거 보통 K5가 아니던데 튜닝은 얼마나치 한 거예요?
한 500 정도 들었습니다.
500 정도?
예.
So he bought the car, but he did a lot of tuning for the car. And he spent 5 million won for tuning his car.
주변 지인들이 카포라고 얘기를 많이 한다고 들었어요. 이 차가 얼마 주고 사신 거예요?
시즌스터 해서 한 3,600 정도 들었습니다.
So the car itself is not that expensive. Car is 36 million won. So it's not that expensive. But he spent another 5 million won for tuning his car and
보험 조랑 다 해서 기름값까지 하면 얼마 나가요?
보험해서 하면 한 80에서 90 정도 나갑니다.
보험료 얼마 나왔어요?
So he spent about 800 to 900,000 won for the fuel for his insurance, car insurance, and others.
저 노란색.
So he did a lot of tuning for his car. He changed the wheels. He changed
세라믹 느낌을
Pretty much
내려고
everything.
보니까 색깔만 칠한 거 중소기업 다니신다고 하셨잖아요.
네.
월급이 어떻게 되시는데요?
한 240에서 50 정도는
240, 50?
네.
차에만 90 나갔죠. 월세 70 나간다고 했고 그럼 남는 돈이 한 돈 빼?
네, 그 정도 됩니다.
And his monthly income is about 2,500,000 won, and he spends about 1,500,000 won for the car and for the rent. So he can spend another 1,000,000 won for the food and stuff like that.
그걸로 그럼 뭐 저축하고 뭐 이렇게 뭐 미래 준비 37이시니까 결혼 안 하셨죠?
결혼은 아직 없습니다.
결혼은 아직 생각 없고.
네.
그럼 그 남은 돈으로 뭐 하세요?
저희 술 먹고
술
네,
먹고
이제 세차하고
세차?
네,
끝?
네, 끝입니다.
끝?
네, 끝입니다.
Okay, so he said he spends about 1,500,000 won for his car and for the rent. And after that, after doing that, he has about 1,000,000 won left. And he spends that money for drinking and cleaning his car. Okay, so I watched the video and he spent a lot of money for his car. A lot of tuning going on here. So we're going to watch another video.
그럼 이 모델 3 롱레인지로 사셨잖아요.
네.
보조금 받아서 얼마 정도에 사신 거예요?
5,999만 원인데 보조금은 한 470만 원하고 전세 보조금 1,000만 원 정도 더 넣어서 선납금으로 1,000만 원 정도 넣고 그 나머지 이제 4,500 정도
네.
할부로
아.
할게요.
60개월? 그래도
Okay, so he is 52 years old and he spent about 45 million won to buy a Tesla. And he has to pay every month for 60 months for the car.
월로 나누면 한 10만 원에 뭐 전기값이고 뭐 하면 하여튼 100 넘게 이 차에랑 월세로 해서 나가게 되는 거잖아요. 200 중후반 번다 해도 그래.
So he spends about a little more than 1,000,000 won for the car and his rent for the house.
지금
Oh, wow. So he is married to a Mongolian lady and his wife lives in Mongolia. So he has to pay for the car, pay for his rent house, and he also has to send some money to his wife. And after doing that, he has no money left. So he's also thinking of doing a second job.
쉬고 있는데
네.
주말을 일을 할 수 있는 곳을 지금 최근에 알아봤어요.
주말에도 좀 일을
And
해야
he's
될것
planning to work in the weekends.
그두 분이 와도 같이 살 집이 있어야 되잖아요. 그런 것도 어떻게 생각해봤어요?
그러니까 그것도 벌어야 되는데 방 2칸짜리 근처에 알아봤는데 7천만 원이더라고요.
전세가요?
네,
네.
전세가. 그나마 원룸짜리는 3천 정도 저렴하더라고요.
근데 이제 둘째 딸이 있으니까 그렇죠?
아직 돈이 없으니까
네.
불편해도 좀 작은 방에서 당분간 생활하다가
네.
돈이 모아지면 좀 넓은 데 방 2칸짜리 가야죠.
이 차를 사면 안 되는 거 아니었어요? 아니 그래도 할 말은 해야지. 이 차를 사.
So his wife and his kids are planning to come to Korea, and he has no money for the house for his family, but he still bought the car. Anyways, in conclusion, the first guy, he bought a Kia car, and the car is not that expensive, but he did a lot of tuning for his car. And after spending money for his car and his rent for his house, he spends rest of the money for cleaning his car and drinking alcohol. After that, he doesn't have any money left. And the second guy bought a Tesla, and the problem is his wife and his kids are planning to come to Korea. They're from Mongolia, and he has to buy or move to a bigger house, but he does not have the money for that because he bought the car and he has to pay for his car for the next 60 months, and he is planning to find another job in the weekends, like a part-time job, and he's kind of worried because he doesn't really know what to do when his family comes to Korea. The interviewer said he shouldn't have bought the car, but the interviewee said he wanted to buy Tesla so much, so he did. And yeah, now he's worried about his family. Sounds pretty serious. Now I'm going to talk about my personal experience. I don't have any friends, or I don't have anyone who spends like a lot of money for their cars. But there is a guy, he's not a car poor. I cannot say he's a car poor, but he is the closest person to the car poor I know. So one day he told me that he bought a car, and it was quite an expensive car. And I said, okay, that's good for you. And then a couple months later, he called and he said he bought another car. And I said, so did you sell the one before? And he said, no, he bought a second one. So he owns 2 cars. So I asked him, why do you need 2 cars? And what he said was, he works as a salesman, and he has to take the expensive car when he meets his clients. So because he has to show his clients that he's earning this much money, he's, riding a good car. And the cheap one, the second car he bought is a cheap one. And that one is for, hanging out with his friends. And I asked him, why, but you still don't need the second car. You can just take the first car. And what he said was he has to spend a lot of money for the fuel for his first car, so he bought another one because he doesn't need to pay that much for the fuel for the second car. To me, that sounded quite weird, and I couldn't really understand him. And after a couple months later, he said that he sold the first car, I think, or the second car, I don't remember. That's because he couldn't afford to keep 2 cars. Anyways, that was a story of someone I know, and he's not a car poor, but I think he is the closest person to a car poor. So the point of this video is some people are really obsessed with cars, and they just have to buy good looking cars to impress others, and sometimes only because they just love cars. And again, this is happening because people judge others by what they're driving, what they're wearing, and blah blah blah. Anyways, yeah, I just wanted to share another story here in Korea. I'm going to end my video here today. Thank you for watching once again. See you next time. Bye bye.